And welcome back to the Backstage Live, the online show dedicated completely to the Malaysian art scene. Now, as you can tell, we've kind of changed the setting around. We no longer have the desk or the chair, we just have me and a wall. But we are trying to keep this show fun and concise and as happy and wonderful and fantastic as can possibly be. So enough with me rambling, while we go on with our first show that we're talking about. Now, there's a show coming up called Ruby Moon, directed by Christopher Ling, Bow Cameronian Arts Award winner Christopher Ling, and he is back this time around to tell a little tale about what happens when a little girl gets abducted and you only have 2 actors on stage to play a whole bunch of roles. This is what you get.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life.
Ruby Moon's about 2 parents, Ray and Sylvie, whose daughter has disappeared, and they don't know what happened to her. They don't know if she was abducted or if she ran away, and the whole play is about Ray and Sylvie trying to figure out what happened to their daughter, Ruby.
Ruby Moon is about pain and anguish and all things evil in this world, and a couple of nice-looking people.
Yeah, it's basically it's a play. Obviously, you know that. So it's not really a musical, although our characters are quite, as you can see. Ruby Moon is about a couple, Ray and Sylvie Moon, who are mourning the loss of their 6-year-old daughter, Ruby, who on a very routine visit to her grandma, who lives down the road, she disappears, she doesn't come back.
Ray, the best way to describe Ray is that he was once just an average guy. He works in the bookstore, he's happily married, they had their daughter, and life was perfect for them. They had that picture book life, that story, that fairy tale story life. You know, they live in that perfect white house with a red door, and you know, it's a happy family. And all of a sudden their daughter disappears, and Ray doesn't know how to deal with it. He becomes tired and worn down, and because Ray and Sylvie can't seem to find any closure, and Sylvie is obsessed with finding out the truth, Ray has to put up with it, and any semblance of who he used to be has disappeared.
Sylvie is, she's a typical mother who's very doting, and obviously she and Ray are very new to it, and the daughter is the only child, so they're pouring all their affections on her. So obviously when the only child has disappeared, as with any parent, she's severely traumatized, and she's just trying to find meaning in what has happened and trying to fight her own demons, and just having this daily battle with herself and with Ray. Okay.
There is a moment there's a scene in the play where one of the characters, Veronica, she has a moment where she gets to sing this song, and it's actually written by Matt Cameron himself. The lyrics were written by Matt Cameron. Yeah, so Chris said, hey, that is a perfect opportunity for you to write a song.
It's been a long time since I played a principal role, and one that's this this incredibly emotional and difficult and challenging, it's fantastic working with Chris and working with Davina. I'm doing things on stage that I haven't done in a really long time.
It's interesting because I've never worked with Alex for one. I've only seen Alex once in a play, so it was quite a, well, I guess Chris knew what he was doing, but for me, like working with Alex, who's quite a wild card, I didn't know what to expect at all. So finding the chemistry with him was a very interesting process. It's always a very pleasant experience working with Chris. There's a lot of mutual respect, and our working relationship is built on a lot of friendship and trust.
I mean, it's inevitable. You know, with the William Yao missing children's case and it being, you know, in the news in the last month or so, you would think that, you know, it's an opportune moment for a play like this, and you know, we sorted it in. But actually, to tell you the honest truth, this play was programmed. I programmed this play into our 2012 calendar in September of last year. It was actually just after the Mudlia case, and there happened to also be an Astro TV series that talked about this sort of issue. And I thought, hey, it's quite a topical sort of thing. It might actually be a lot of... It is a topic that needs to be addressed. Certainly something that has local... Stop it! Please forgive my actors. I think it's actually quite funny that our little promo on Backstage Live is so humorous, because you know what? For the 90 minutes that you would be spending with us in Pentas 2 next week and in Stage 2 the week after, I think you're in for quite a ride, so this is a nice contrast.
Why should we go and watch the show?
It's a beautiful, heartbreaking story about what happens when you forget to love each other in the face of tragedy. And I think people can relate to that.
People should come watch the show because they got nothing else better to do from the 28th of February to the 3rd of March.
Firstly, it's a really well written piece. I mean, besides, you know, we have great director, great actors, but the material itself is actually really deep. It's very thought-provoking. Theatre is a great agent for change. Theatre is a great way to stir up discussion. Theatre is a great way to address issues. And whether we like it or not, it brings these things again to the forefront. It gives you a starting point to discuss, to look at, to comment on things. And hopefully, as you watch the play, it will unnerve you, it will unsettle you, but it will certainly make you think about how something like this would affect you.
Whether it's been the loss of like a pet or a grandparent or even a relationship, I think everyone would be able to kind of feel what the two protagonists or antagonists, or protagonist and antagonist, switching roles all the time. I forgot what I was trying to say, but anyway.
So yes, that's Ruby Moon. So why don't you go and check it out. The details are across the screen at the moment. You can see all the dates, all the times. They're heading to Penang as well next week, and they open tonight. So make sure you go and buy your tickets, because this is one play that is certainly very interesting. But enough of that. Why don't we check out what's happening in the next weeks? Calls it to a close once again. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Backstage Live. As usual, across your screen right now is our email. So if you have any inquiries, or you want to get your show to be interviewed by us, or even if you're a musician, we're on the lookout for some music to put onto our show. So why don't you hit us up, thebackstagelive@gmail.com. So, until next time, my name is Nick Dorian, and this has been the Backstage Life.